Sam Darley here. Tonight I'm going to talk to you about Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals and preview Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Spurs got shellacked 136-100 without Kawhi Leonard, without David Lee, without Tony Parker. Really, how lucky can the Golden State Warriors be? Seriously. But this is also very embarrassing for the NBA. You're in the Western Conference Finals. This has been a very embarrassing playoffs. Not many games. Excuse me. How many of the games have been close at all? Um, the closest game I can think of was the Rockets and Spurs in Game 5 of last round. And that was a great game. That was a great game. It was fun to watch. This is just, I think the Warriors and the Cavaliers are bad for basketball. They are. They're so loaded. It makes it, you have to be almost super perfect just to beat them. But San Antonio really should have won Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. They're getting hammered tonight without Kawhi, without Lee, and to me this is about how embarrassing LaMarcus Aldridge is. Aldridge and Gasol are too soft, and this kind of goes back to what I mentioned about the Houston Rockets in the last series. When you've got two soft players like Aldridge and Gasol, you got to dominate them, and they were terrible. This is a series that they need to dominate, that they need to take control of the paint, they need to control the boards, they need to make sure Golden State doesn't get things going from inside as well as outside. They just haven't done that this series. Excuse me, Popovich is the best coach in the NBA. I'm sure the longer the series goes, the more adjustments that San Antonio will make. But without Kawhi, without Parker, without Lee, I don't know what they can do. The Spurs, they're in trouble. They're down 2-0. They could have had a split, but they didn't. So it's done. It's game 2. It's game 3. 3 days from now, they're down 2-0. It's not over. At least I hope for the NBA's sake, because if this is a sweep, if you get 2 sweeps in the conference finals, I cannot tell you just how embarrassing that is for your league. You've got, it is. It's the whole point of having a salary cap and a luxury tax. My belief was to prevent super teams or make it harder to form super teams. I'll give Golden State credit; they built theirs from the ground up. But Cleveland went out there and got, obviously LeBron came home, but they've loaded just about half the Eastern Conference on their team. And we're sitting here going, well, it's going to be LeBron again against Golden State. I hope not. As a fan, I hope San Antonio pulls it out. And I hope Boston gives Cleveland a good run for their money. But, I guess we'll just see what happens. But, yeah, this is just, 136-100 in a Western Conference final game? You kidding me? That's terrible basketball. It's a terrible product. Speaking of the Celtics, congratulations to Boston for getting the number 1 pick. They are going to be really, really tough for years to come. No, they should not take Lonzo Ball. I saw him in the tournament, and I just thought, I wasn't a big fan, excuse me, of his game. It was terrible against Kentucky, and he clearly, his jump shot, very unorthodox. I don't know if he's a number 1 pick. A lot of people judge an entire season. I judge by the tournament, because that's when you see the best of the best, and the best players rise. But the funny thing is, in that Celtics Wizards series for a second, is speaking of big time, we also found out in that Celtics Wizards series that John Wall and Bradley Beal are not as big time as people say they are. Could you imagine being a Wizards fan and you found out that you're going home because your team couldn't stop Kelly Olynyk? I'll give Olynyk credit. He played great. But that's the type of player I'm talking about. The player you don't think is going to rise to the occasion, and it's going to play very well under pressure, that's the one that usually steps up and makes the big plays happen. That's what Olynyk did, and I give him all the credit in the world. And the Wizards are just, I don't know what to tell you about Washington, other than the fact that they flat out just cannot handle the pressure of the playoffs. So Celtics Cavs game 1 will be tomorrow. I think I'm gonna say Cavs in 5. This entire playoffs. I mean, is it really? I mean, has there been any game that you've watched that you've been excited about? I mean, have you ever? I was most excited about Game 5 of Houston and San Antonio because, I mean, that Game 5 was great. It came down to the wire. It came down to execution, and I mean, it was playoff basketball. You know, and now everybody's just getting beaten like a drum. It shows you the level of competition in the NBA. It shows you just how weak it is. And that's just reality. The playoffs expose everything. So, speaking of Houston teams, the Houston Astros are the best team in baseball. That's right, you heard me say it. The best team in baseball, 28-12. Can they keep it up? I think they can. I think they've got a dangerous lineup. They play great defense. They field the ball very, very well. But the two biggest concerns for me, and they pitch very well at the top of the rotation. Dallas Keuchel is having a 2015 type Keuchel season, Cy Young season. Then you got McCullers too. The question for the Astros, and I'm being serious here. Can the back end of the rotation and the bullpen consistently deliver down the stretch? We're nowhere near down the stretch right now, but we're in May, we're about to head to June, which means we'll be a month away from the trade deadline. Do the Astros believe that this is the team? They have the horses to get it done in October. I'm kind of hesitant because I think the back end of the rotation and the bullpen are just too inconsistent. Like, there are times when I think the bullpen could lock down the game, but then there are times when I just know something bad is just going to happen. That they're going to give it up. And then the back end of the rotation, with Mike Fiers, you just don't know what you're going to get. The same thing with Charlie Morton. I kind of feel like you're going to get... I kind of feel like you're going to get almost a Colin McHugh type performance. You'll give up maybe 2 or 3 runs, 4 maximum, but he's solid and he'll keep you in games. So Joe Musgrove, the kid is lights out when he's on, but that's the question: is can the Astros get consistency from the other guys in the rotation? If they can, I think they're very much a World Series favorite. It's the only thing that's going to keep them from winning it. So Spurs lose by 36. Celtics get the number 1 pick, and the Astros are the best team in baseball. This has been Sam Darley. Thank you for watching.